First of all, introducing our challenger.
Out of the blue corner.
He's going to step in and he does. It's all over.
Let's bring on the boom.
This is Eternal MMA.
It's a good word, mixed martial arts fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Eternal Insiders Podcast, fresh and rejuvenated for the year 2023. My name's Luke, I'm your host, and back again today with another good guest for you. He's a man that has just come out the other side of a couple of years of adversity in his professional career to get himself back in the win column at Eternal 73. Forged in the fires of England from Jamaican and Irish blood and exported straight to the sunny shores of Perth, Western Australia, where he now resides and trains out of the Wolves Den. It's Mr. Aldin Bates. Aldin, how you doing, brother?
I'm very good, brother. Thank you for having me on, Luke. Obviously, a little bit of messing about there, but yeah, no, thank you for reaching out. How are you, Luke?
I'm very well, man, and not at all. I'm on your time here. Now, it's what are we, about a week removed since the fight. How you feeling a week on, man? A little bit of the come down. Now you sort of had a bit of a chance to reflect. How you feeling a week on from that fight?
I feel...
Oh, we might have lost the audio-wise again there.
Oh,
no, you're back.
yeah, sorry. I had a phone call come through there. Yeah, I feel really good, Luke. I feel amazing. The main thing about the fight was obviously so long out on the back of a pretty heavy loss to obviously Jack Della, and yeah, obviously I've been training constantly since then. I've had a few ups and downs with work and business and a few injuries here and there, but I've been training pretty consistently. But the whole ring rust thing. People say it's not non-existent. Some people say it is. You don't know until you get in there. You don't know how you're going to feel when it's the pressure and under the lights and all that kind of stuff. And I feel amazing in the gym. I feel good fitness. I feel good all round in life. But until you get in there and you feel a couple of hard punches from somebody, I don't care who you are, you don't know how you're going to react. You really don't. So my brain was strong, my body was strong, but I just wanted to see how it would all go down.
No, I mean, I get it, and you know more than me, man, so I'm not going to pretend to understand what that's like. But you did touch on after the fight, and when you're speaking backstage, that, you know, over the last couple of years, it wasn't like you were just sort of taking it easy and just sort of taking time off. You know, you're working through some injuries, you were still training where you sort of could. Are those sort of injuries behind you now? Like, do we have a clean bill of health? Obviously, I know no one's ever 100%, but is that that major sort of injury problems that you had, is that now behind you, safe to say?
Absolutely, yeah. That's it's the body. I'm 36 years old, Luke. I feel stronger, fitter, healthier than I ever have in my life. I really am. I've got a strong family, strong people around me, and yeah, just training. That's all. I've done it since I was a kid. I've played high level soccer in the UK. I was kickboxing when I was younger, went into MMA when I was around 25. I wasn't in the gym. That's the normal to me. So now it's that without the young man party side of life as well. So it's kind of, you're in the gym even more now. So it's a good place to be quite honest.
And another better place now that you're back in the win column, of course. You know, you reference, you know, coming off the JDM loss, you know, and you had that couple of runs, a couple of years of the run with the injuries.
JDM, I've never heard that. That's class. JDM, I like it. I've never heard anyone say that.
We're very time conscious in this show, so, you know, let's go with JDM. But I
like it. Nice, dude. That's a good. Yeah, JDM. Sounds ace.
I'm glad you like
it. Yeah.
Let's say I coined it myself. We'll say that out loud, just in case anyone's wondering. So we'll.
Yeah, I've just never heard anyone say it. JDM. Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
It reminds me of Desanya. Yeah, nice.
I must admit, I've never heard anyone say it either, but so I will claim it for myself. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you should. You should, Luke.
I appreciate it. But hey, you said before the fight, you touched on it a couple of times that it was going to be, you know, more likely a sort of a striker versus grappler match, and it obviously did sort of play out that way. But did you expect coming into the fight, once he got in there, that he was going to be so grapple heavy for that full 15 minutes? Because it pretty much was almost a full 15 minutes of grappling. Were you expecting him to maybe mix it up a little bit more than he did, or was it pretty much par for the course?
Well, from my opinion, he's the highest level wrestler that I could possibly fight at this level and Eternal have on the books and stuff like that. But then on the backside of that, you can imagine my gym, we're watching tape and we're working out what their gym, obviously he's training at City Kickboxing, and he's got the best strikers in the world on the mats with him, probably most sessions. So you can't just rely on him going to wrestle, because obviously he can always pull that out. He can pull it out of his back pocket anytime he wants. He's bloody competing at the Commonwealth Games for wrestling, so you know he's got it. But then also, you can imagine all the guys in there, they're striking so high level. So he's going to have the best of both in him. I know for a fact John can strike. Anyone says John Varkey hasn't got hands, you're mad. But the difference is when you get hit so hard, when you get rocked or you get cracked and you're like, shit, that doesn't feel normal. You go to what you're used to. You have a go-to, and his go-to is obviously wrestling. It's obvious because there's times in that fight where I've watched the tape a few times now, and he's shooting with his eyes closed, which is madness. He's that comfortable with his wrestling. I'm punching him from all different angles, and he has his eyes closed. And I'm thinking, what is the confidence to have that? It's just you're in a flow state. You just go doing what you do naturally, and obviously that's what John was doing. But it's all different. People say, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to strike with him. Wait till you get cracked by someone when you feel the power and you go, well, shit, okay, well, maybe I'm going to wrestle. I don't think his game plan would have, and I suppose I'm never going to know. I don't think his game plan was to wrestle the whole 15 minutes like he did. I'm guessing he was thinking, I'm going to tire him out, lower the power a little bit, and then start striking. He came out with his hands in the second round and he got a few shots off. But then when he had a few shots, he went back to the wrestling. So it's hard. You can never say, like even me, I'm more known for striking than I am wrestling. But you put me up against a Muay Thai champion or whatever. I've been doing more wrestling and jiu-jitsu in the latter part of my career than I have striking. So it's kind of you just match who you're fighting against. Use your skills against them, their skills against you. So. Yeah, I thought he would use his hands a little bit more, if I'm honest. Even with the ground and with the wrestling, I was expecting, say a Glenn Pettigrew, who he's got a high caliber of wrestling, but when he took you down, he would hurt you. His intentions were to take you down and punish you. Whereas I didn't feel that danger with John as much. I felt like he was happy just to win the rounds from the wrestling.
And of course, he got the win in the end, and it was a split decision. And you said after the fight that you might have been a tad nervous in terms of whether you might have got the win or not. But looking back in hindsight, have you had a chance to look at the fight back now and sort of give an honest opinion about, do you think that was the right call? Do you think that was the right man got his hand raised at the end of the day?
So yeah, on the night, obviously, I never want to give the judges a chance to take a fight away from somebody or to give it. My whole intention since I've started professional MMA is to finish fights. I don't want to give the judges I don't even want them writing down numbers. They're going to know Aldin's fighting. It's going to be an end of fight. Let's just sit down and relax and watch it and enjoy it. But so watching that fight again, obviously on the night time, I'm in such a, you don't know. On the night, I'm thinking he's controlled me a fair bit of the fight. So yeah, I was nervous on the night, but I've watched it back a couple of times. And obviously, it's the second round, the pivotal second round, where he's got 2 takedowns in there, but he's at a lot of shots. So to me, to take someone down, you've got to control them and cause some kind of damage. You can't just. It's got to be. So I've looked at the rule books and everything since then. It's got to be effective takedown. So to take someone and just hold them, striking, damage, pressure, which I got the better of him in that second round, overrides the wrestling with no damage on that side of it. So personally, I've spoken to a lot of people, some high-level guys, asked them to watch it, and everyone has come back and said, it's a close fight, don't get me wrong, it's a close fight, but you definitely won it from the striking in the second round. And obviously, a lot of people are saying it's a 10-8 in the third round. So I personally think I won it. I've tried to be as unbiased as I can. Obviously, every fight is an egotistical man. That's just the way we are. So I don't want to hear if I lost it. But if I thought I lost that fight, I would say I've got nothing to win, gain, nothing to lose. I think I won the fight fair and square. Like I said, I've spoken to a lot of people around it, and everyone kind of agrees, says it's close, but it's the effective wrestling. If you don't land a single shot, cause any damage from the wrestling, it's kind of like, what's the point? It's not an MMA fight, is it? But what do you think, Luke? Have you watched the fight over?
I was actually there cage side, so I got it sort of firsthand. I mean, from my perspective, I thought you personally won the fight. I haven't had a chance to sort of win it back, but my personal thinking, being as unbiased as I can, my personal thought is usually the sort of the striking trumps the sort of the control, especially if there isn't any sort of advancement from any sort of position. But you're the professional, so I'll take my advice from you. I'm not going to sort of say too much either way, but
no,
personal unbiased. It's not. I thought you'd won the fight.
Even now, like I say, I've spoken to some high level guys in MMA, and they've given me their opinion, but also the common fans. It's your opinion as well. You guys are all paying to watch. I class myself as a prize fighter, so I get paid to fight. So what do you want to watch? What do you think Dana White wants to watch? Does he want to watch a wrestling match, or does he want to watch a fight? So you say it's not your opinion, but it actually is. It's what do you think wins fights? Personally, I think damage. I think if you come off a fight and you're damaged, but you've wrestled and held someone, I'm going to give it to the guy that's caused the damage. Personally, that's how I score fights, and that's how I know the highest level. That's how they score fights as well. So it's a tough one because I've had a few people. Sorry, I'm just pulling up at the gym. Right. I've had a few people message me a video of Izzy saying that his boy got robbed, and I think which is absolutely ridiculous to state he's been robbed. I mean, that's the funniest thing I've heard.
We're all supposed to have our teammates back, so I suppose I'd imagine.
Of course. He's an emotional guy. Israel's a very emotional guy. He's a current fighter. I see the thought behind it. I see them. I see why, but whether they watch it again as a team, and I'm sure I'll reach out to John at some point and ask how does he feel, and if he personally thinks when it's all the dust is settled that he's been robbed, then we'll have to take it from there and deal with it as we would. But I'm happy to fight whoever, to be quite honest. I've had a few rematches in my life, but I'd like to try and fight a few different people instead of having too many rematches. But we'll see anyway, see what he thinks, to see whether we run it back or what have you. See what makes sense for everybody.
Now, I want to ask one more question about the fight. I might ask one or two more, but I just want to ask in that.
Yeah, you go.
In your opinion, how close were you to landing that kick when you were sort of grounded against the cage here? I don't know if you have in your recollection, but there was a big ooh from the crowd there, and you sort of wound up. I sort of stood up and I'm like, oh my God, that was close.
Twice it happened. Twice it happened in that fight. Twice. There was 2 millimeter split second decisions in my brain. So that's how, and this is not me trying to be a tough guy. This is just how I am. This is how I treat the sport of MMA. It's a fight at the end of the day, and it gets heated, and you're in a fight and you're in a battle. I've met guys where are so calm and cool, collected, and it's just different styles of people. So I've actually had fights in the past where it's been twice. In fact, I've had 2 fights that you've kind of went to strike at a downed opponent. On a hex fight against Luke Howard, I threw the combo I'd been working in the camp was a left hook, right hand, followed up with a knee, and he dropped off the left hook, and I've still thrown the right and thrown the knee just out of the combination. And as he's dropping, I've hit him with the knee. And you can imagine there's uproar. You need a down opponent, but there's no intention to try and cheat or to try and get an advantage from that. That's just, you're in a firefight. You got 2 men fighting, throwing limbs. That's what happens. But with the Varke one, there was a split second of brains kicked in, was like, it was close anyway. To answer your question, it was probably closer than it looked to actually slamming the knee into him when he's semi-downed. Yeah. People are up and down, and depends on the level you're fighting at. People can play the game of one hand down and stuff like that, and to protect themselves. So it's a tough one. Obviously, there's rules for a reason. I don't want to hurt anybody. We're not out there to do any damage in that sense. But yeah, it's a fight, and I want to hurt you there and then and win the fight. But I don't want to do any extra damage if it's not necessary. So it was very close to landing it, but I'm glad it didn't, obviously. But it was very close.
It looked very close. Like I said, there was a lot of oohs and ahs from the crowd when you put it back. But I mean, the strikes that you did land in the legal sense were all sort of there. Those the digging undershots when he had you in the clinch against the cage and everything. We've got time for a
Yeah,
couple more questions. One of the last ones I want to ask you was those ones that you're sort of looping underneath the arms that were touching his jaw. Like, how often were you feeling those connect? Because, I mean, you were getting the pop from the crowd because everyone sort of seemed to think they were landing, and I think that's where you ultimately won the fight. Like, were you feeling a lot of those connect to the face? Because it was hard to see from his
I can hand on heart. I've fought for over 10 years at pro level, the thing, when you connect a punch, I know when I've hit someone hard and you can feel them welt. And I've never even thrown that. I've never trained that. I've never thrown a punch. I was like throwing punches. The boys in the gym are taking the piss. You look like a gorilla, like punching yourself in the groin. But I can tell you now, a few of them punches were landing hard to the fact of he was going limp. The ref was shouting, he's going to stop it. And if that's when he went into kind of auto mode, I think. So they were landing and he just stiffened and he just went, say stiffened, he's gone like limp. He's not tried to advance. Most people, you get two shots like that, they're going to move, but he just didn't. He just kind of stayed there. That kind of is a telltale sign that you're hurt. Like otherwise you'd get cracked and you'd move. But yeah, they were landing pretty heavy, they were, to be quite honest. And like I say, that's not something I've trained for, we've planned for. I've not seen it before, but it just felt right in the moment. And the thing with it, obviously I've trained for John quite a while. I've watched him fight. He's fighting very actively. So I'm lucky enough to have some good footage on him very recent. I was thinking he's not going to be able to hold you. He's been able to hold other people, but he was deceivingly strong. And the sneaky little hand ties and some of the stuff, even though I trained for it, I still couldn't just break away. And the game plan was not to give him anything extra. He's going to hold on to you so that you get frustrated and then you give him something and then he advances and then he can start landing. So he's holding me, but I'm also holding him, so I'm not taking any damage. So it's frustrating for me because I know that makes for a boring fight, and different people, they're happy to win. But like I said in the beginning, I want to finish fights, and we're prize fighters at the end of the day. I run a business. I don't fight for money. I fight because I want to fight, because I enjoy it. I enjoy fighting. It's something that I've done for a long time. I don't know what I'm going to do when I can't fight anymore. So I want to finish fights. And when someone holds you down, there's nothing more frustrating in the world. I don't care about so much booze because you can't hear all that stuff when you're in there. But I just felt so frustrated. I would have thrown everything in the fucking kitchen sink at him. If I could have landed any shot, I would have thrown it. So yeah, it's a funny one. I don't know where it came from, to be honest. I know it landed once or twice and it didn't move, so I just kept on throwing it. And I wasn't trying to finish him in that position. I just wanted him to move. I just wanted him to either break away, go for a single leg, and then we'll start defending on the single. But he just held on to the double, and he was getting blasted, to be honest. Yeah, he might say different. He was comfortable, but I doubt it. I've been in them positions before. I've punched from under people's arms and KO'd people in weird punches and weird positions where you don't think you generate that much power, but I can tell you it's more than it looks. You don't want to be on the other end of it.
No, I mean, I think the crowd
it's a funny one.
Landing man, and the crowd was well and truly on your side. And speaking of, over 2,500 record attendance for Eternal MMA at the HBF Stadium in Perth, Western Australia, your hometown. A lot of home crowd pop there too. Sounded like there was a lot of English fans in the audience and a lot of Perth fans. So it sort of seemed there was a little bit.
Oh, it's amazing.
Of a little bit of Perth, England versus City Kickboxing with Israel Adesanya and Dan Hooker in attendance. So were you feeling that moment in the crowd? We've only got a couple of minutes left before the recording ends, but
no. So this is one of the only fights I've not tried to promote it, really, if I'm honest. I just wanted to train and fight. I didn't want to. I'm not saying I'm a big promoter, but I like people to come. I like having fans there. I like fighting away as well. I don't mind traveling, but the crowd, Eternal, put on such a show. Congratulations to Ben and Cam, because that show was amazing. It was vibrating. I could hear people stamping, shouting, screaming. I could hear people scream. You say that home crowd. I could hear a lot of screams for Varke in there. They had a good back in their cells. So I think everyone just was having such a good night, and it was such a good. Oh, it was amazing. I was so happy with. I always speak to people afterwards. The main thing: did you have a good night? Obviously, the fights are going to be what they are. Did everyone have a good night? Everyone gets home safe. You pay your money to watch people fight. Everyone I spoke to said it was one of the best shows they've been to, outside obviously the very top promotions in the world. So very happy to be on that show. I can't wait to get onto the next one, to be honest.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you back in there, man. It was a huge weekend for mixed martial arts, as I've touched on the last couple of shows, UFC 284, backing up Eternal 73, and you getting to be a part of that weekend in your hometown. It was incredible to see, and we can't wait to see you back in there, man. We've pretty much ran out of time for the recording there, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, brother, and talk to you for the first time. All the best. Hope everything's going well for you. Enjoy the weeks. Look forward to seeing when you get back in there, and we'll see you on the show again soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you for reaching out. I've watched a fair few of your shows, so it was nice to be on the show finally. And you're doing a good job, mate. And fair play to Eternal. Thank you for all the Eternal staff. Thank you to all the fans that came to watch. The MMA in Australia is so big. It's amazing. It's the biggest, fastest growing sport in the world. And Australia is probably one of the biggest countries in the world for it. So without you guys, all the reporters, all the guys doing all their behind closed doors jobs, it wouldn't be what it is. So thank you to you as well, mate.
You're the man, Aldin. Thanks, brother.
Cheers, brother. Have a good one.
Catch you, mate.